Yo, it's Dark and welcome to this time my ultimate Stormcaller build. Now please bear in mind that these are my personal recommendations and opinions, and just because I opt for a certain perk or piece of armor does in no way mean it's the best. As many of you may know, I play mainly Trials, 3s, Rumble, and I'm almost exclusively an aggressive shotgun warrior, and my build, perks and armor will support and be mainly catered to this. In no particular order, we're going to look at all of the individual subclass perks, armor perks, stat build, and finally a few random tips when playing Storm. Perks. First, we are going to begin with the subclass perks. I'll be going over each perk in every row, explaining which one I use, why, and why I don't use the others in the same line. Now this is basically what our subclass looks like with no perks selected, and we are going to begin in the first column. Grenades. We have the Pulse Grenade, Storm Grenade, and Arc Bolt. So the Pulse Grenade. I don't think I have ever seen anyone using this in PvP. It does damage periodically over time and is far too slow at inflicting damage. Storm Grenade. A popular choice. Basically you throw it and it causes a localized storm from the sky. It does big damage when it hits, but the keyword is when. Storm Grenades take far too long to proc in my opinion, and if I'm pushing someone and gets a Storm Grenade thrown at me, I will pass through it easily before it is able to do any damage to me. Storm Nades also deal vertical damage. This is a quick clip of easily running through a thrown Storm Nade. Finally, Arc Bolts, and these are going to be my recommendation. Why they might not deal a massive amount of damage like they used to or have the crazy range, they proc quick and can tag multiple targets. Never rely on a grenade for a kill. Use them as play starters to force people to move or to panic less experienced players. Arc Bolts are also great grenades because they reach for opponents. This is a quick clip of running from a thrown Arc Bolt. For our first column, we will be selecting Arc Bolt. Movement. So as a Warlock we have our basic glide, and this column modifies it to our preference. Firstly, focus control. Better directional control while in midair. Using this jump is going to turn you into a wonderful floating fairy that everyone else is going to love to play against, and you will get destroyed every time you jump. No. Focused burst. To provide an initial burst of speed. This is what we want, speed. This is what I use, and in my opinion gives you the freest range of movement while maintaining speed, which is going to help you close the gaps to your opponent and use cover to your advantage. Balanced glide. Bonus to both speed and control. Now you will only be half a fairy. Unfortunately, the control aspect of it still causes you to float a lot, and honestly I feel like I have a lot of more immediate reactive control of my movement when using Focused Burst. For a second column we'll be selecting Focused Burst. If you don't know what I mean about the movement or would like to learn how to better your movement on a Warlock, I will link my video in the description where we have a closer focus on it. Storm Trance, our super. By a somewhat unpopular opinion, I do not consider Storm Trance to be a good super. Why not? It is a roaming super, without insta-kill unless you run landfall, which is often a panic or suicide mechanic, and I have very bad experience in this consistently working. That also being when you finally get within range of your opponent, you have to roast them for a few seconds to get the kill. Storm Trance can be countered by nearly every other super, meaning in Trials you either get it out fast or you usually get supered out of it. That said, never play a class for their super alone. Our options are as follows. Landfall. On casting Storm Trance, fire a bolt of lightning into the ground, creating a devastating shockwave under you. Superconductor. Doubles your Storm Trance's lightning chaining capabilities. Ionic Blink. Press L3 to teleport during Storm Trance. Landfall is okay and can help get that first kill to start to play or when getting pushed by multiple opponents. As mentioned before, Landfall seems pretty inconsistent personally, and anytime I try to push with it, I will usually end up either getting a kill and then dying, or not getting any kills at all from it and getting destroyed. I have on very few occasions got one or more with the Landfall and been able to play out and enjoy electrifying the rest of the opponent. We're going to use Landfall, but we are not going to select it as our perk in this column. I will explain how we will do this later on. Superconductor. I will be honest and say I haven't seen anyone using this. Why? Because it's bad? Not really. it's just that the other two options are better. Ionic Blink. This is the perk I use personally. I recommend this because it helps lower the chance of you getting taken out of your super. A good Stormcaller can also bait other supers with it. You can bait a slam and double blink, or blink then glide away and turn around and melt him. This is dangerous but can be extremely effective. The only downside is that blink uses your super bar up, and if you get carried away with it, you will use your super extremely quickly. Using your Ionic Blink skillfully would take some time to master, but you can play around in patrol etc. and try and get the basics down. It will be immensely beneficial to you once mastered, which is something I'm still working on too. So for our third column, we are going Ionic Blink. Thunderstrike. Our melee ability, and in my opinion, the greatest thing about this class, especially when playing aggressive with the shotgun. Our three options are as follows. Chain Lightning. Your Thunderstrike chains from the struck target to another nearby enemy. Amplitude. Your Thunderstrike has a greater range. Finally, Rising Storm. Hits with Thunderstrike, charge your super ability and melee energy. So let's start from the top with Chain Lightning, and it does pretty much what it sounds like. If you melee an enemy with another in close proximity, the melee will chain and deal damage to both. Our goal is going to be to always try for those 1v1 situations, so we are not going to select this perk. Amplitude. Again, most of the reason I run this class. Your melee will have an even further range than normal, which was already pretty crazy. This is insane when paired with the shotgun, allowing you to finish your encounters from either further away, also allowing you to mitigate the chance of being countered by an enemy shotgun user, snipe an enemy that's taken damage and is trying to flee, or even to blast people out of the air. This is a quick clip of a normal melee range, which is already very good. This is another clip while running Amplitude. Amplitude gives you that kind of lunge that extends your melee range. Crazy, right? Finally, Rising Storm. This is more useful in PvE when you may be constantly meleeing hordes of enemies or what have you. For the build, gear and strats we're going to be using, this is not going to be useful. So for our fourth column, we'll be running Amplitude. Next, our first set of attribute modifiers. The options are Arcane Wisdom, training focused on battle recovery and speed, Arcane Spirit, training focused on battle recovery and toughness, finally Arcane Force, training focused on toughness and speed. We're going for a balanced build with not too much agility to keep our initial jumps low, so we'll be selecting Arcane Force, our fifth column. Ability modifier. Three options are Pulse Wave. When critically wounded, trigger a pulse wave that boosts speed for you and your allies. Feedback. Incoming melee attacks fully recharge and intensify your Thunderstrike. Transcendence. When cast with full grenade and melee energy, storm trances restore your health to full and drain slower. Let's start with Pulse Wave. Arguably the second best thing about the storm in my opinion. When you're weak and it procs, it basically gives you quick draw and increased movement. This is insane if you get meleeed first while holding a primary and can instantly draw your shotgun and allow you to win the encounter. If you're damaged and need to run, this will help you accelerate away from your opponent also. Finally, if you get a kill and are left weak and a second opponent pushes you, it will grant you that increased mobility and speed that they may not be expecting. If you have not tried Pulse Wave, please do. You will thank me for it. Feedback. Honestly, if you get meleeed first and return with a melee, you'll probably lose the encounter on Storm, as there is no shield, lifesteal, etc. The power up that it gives to your melee won't allow you to one-hit kill, and our build will be more focused on charging the melees as quickly as we can, rendering this perk pretty much obsolete. Transcendence. Only really viable in 6s, but requires you not to use your melee or grenade. Honestly, the more time you spend in your storm traversing the map searching for people to fry, the more likely it is that you will get taken out of it. While I'm sure this is going to be a very unpopular opinion, it is my belief that the only people running Transcendence will be those of a lesser skill or maybe less experience with Storm, and ones that rely on their supers for a majority of their kills. If this sounds like you, please give Pulse Wave a chance, and I guarantee you'll become a better player because of it. Again, never play a class for just the super. We'll be selecting Pulse Wave for our 6th column. Next, our last set of attribute modifiers. The options are Ancestral Order, training focused on all attributes, Chaos Order, training focused on speed, and finally Divine Order, training focused on toughness at all costs. As mentioned before, we are going for that balanced build, and so we'll be selecting Divine Order for our 7th column. Onto our final set of attributes. Our final set of perks are our last lot for ability modifiers, and our options are as follows. Electrostatic Mind. Storm Trance charges faster when allies are near. When Storm Trance is active, nearby enemies take damage. Arc Web. Enemies damaged by your grenades chain deadly lightning to other nearby enemies. Perpetual Charge. Getting a grenade kill recharges your melee, getting a melee kill recharges your grenade. Let's start with Electrostatic Mind. Now this was broken up until the recent hotfix, but I played with it this weekend on trials, and it increases the build up of your super significantly. Either while running as a pair of aggressive shotgunners with a sniper in the back sticking close together, or if waiting to hold cap and huddling to maximize supercharge, it is definitely worth running. On my own with max intellect, it took 4 minutes standing still to build super. With one ally it took 3 minutes 35 seconds, and with two it only took 3 minutes and 14 seconds, which is a crazy 46 seconds difference. Arc Web. This is what I ran before Electrostatic Mind was fixed. It allowed me to get multi-tags on hiding enemies and is a good perk. This would be my second choice. Lastly, Perpetual Charge. Honestly, I get minimal kills with my grenade. I use them more as a play starter, as I mentioned earlier. Also, as mentioned, we are going to set up for maximum melee build, so this perk is kind of wasted. On our final column, we're going to selecting Electrostatic Mind. So this is what your subclass setup is going to look like when we are all set and done. Onto our Intellect, Discipline, Strength build. We're going to have a focus on intellect for our super and strength for those insane melee charges. Grenades are less of a priority and will be left out of the focus. While I'm currently stuck on 5-1-5 with the perks etc. I want with my build, a perfect build in my opinion would be a 5-2-5. This allows you to get your super as fast as possible when paired with Electrostatic Mind, get a grenade for a play start to keep an opponent at bay every now and again, and finally to have that insane melee ready to proc as much as physically possible. Exotic Armor. There are two pieces of armor I run with Storm. The first is the Claws of Ahamkara, which I run almost exclusively. These give you double melee charges. Having a double melee charge on Storm is going to be immensely beneficial, especially when run alongside with full strength to hopefully keep you with always at least one charge. The other is the Impossible Machines. They grant you landfall for free. While the Impossible Machines look cool, they are unfortunately completely useless apart from those few seconds where you pop your super in. What I say next is going to be one of my top tips for running Storm. Run the perk setup we mentioned earlier with the claws. When you have your super, change to the Impossible Machines for that free landfall, and after you've used your super, change back to the claws. This is a great and often overlooked strat. Whether it is just your opponents not expecting the landfall, or you shutting down a blade, popping a bubble, or just getting the first pick with it, having that free landfall is extremely beneficial to your super use. My final tip is going to be to learn the range of your Storm melee. Sometimes you can hit ridiculous range with it that you would not think possible and maybe not activate your melee on. A good Storm will be able to make those hits. The best place to practice, as always, will be No Pressure Patrol. While I have not been maining Storm for long, it is a very strong subclass and great for aggressive players. I am not too sure if I will do a Void or Sun video for my next one, and will probably wait to see the feedback on this before I opt to do so. If you have any questions, any tips to add, think I missed anything, or would even like to request a video topic, please do so in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video or feel it was of help, please hit the like button. If you would like to see more or check out the other videos I've made, please hit that sub button, and I will also link my Twitch and Twitter in the comments below. As always, thank you for watching.